Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 battle. I am playing this one with, I believe, Dark Trojan. Was just kind of a random person that I'm playing with in this battle. Dark Trojan brought some dwarves, mostly a line of longbeards, which are very solid infantry. They also brought a blasting charge miners, a couple dwarf warriors. They have a great cannon and two grudge throwers. Is that two grudge throwers? And then they have a cannon over here. They are led by Ungrim Iron Fist, and they also have a Master Engineer to support their gun line here of Thunderers. I brought 3 swordsmen to hold the front line, backed up by a warrior priest that has a couple defensive buffs, AoE buffs, as well as some melee buffs for himself. We are being led by Balthazar Gelt. This will be my first time ever bringing Balthazar. He has the Lore of Metal, I think he's the Lord of Metal. So yeah, I'm trying him on a Flying Pegasus. I have 3 crossbows, protected by a spearman. I have 3 great swords to cut up the Bretonnian infantry, which, by the way, we're fighting against 2 Bretonnians. And so since we're fighting against Bretonnians, I don't really fear their infantry too much, but I still did bring the 3 great swords for that, as well as a mortar team for anti-infantry. What I mostly fear about them are their knights. So I brought 2 great cannons, which are anti-large, armor-piercing, pretty good at killing knights. I brought a group of Empire Knights and then 2 Demigryph Knights with halberds specifically because, again, I knew that I could probably destroy Bretonnian Cav with just great swords, a mortar team, and a warrior priest with crossbow support. Now, this game is paused because the Bretonnians, those sneaky devils, they brought some Pegasus Knights. So let's press play here. They also brought just a lot of basic spearmen, backed up by a lot of bows. A lot of peasant bows. We do also have some Grail Knights back here, and each player brought, I think, 2 field trebuchets. Both brought a King Luon the Yonkeur, but this one is on his Hippogriff. The other one, I believe, is on a Pegasus. More Pegasus Knights, more Pegasus Knights. A lot of Knights. So from the very beginning, they tried to get to my Great Cannon here. You'll see these Pegasus Knights are going to be charged down, but I have 2 anti-large Demigryph units. I do have Balthazar Gelt here, and then I'm throwing in a Swordsman unit and my Empire Knights as well to try and destroy these Pegasus Knights as fast as possible. We're also focused firing with the crossbows. This is not a good day for the Pegasus Knights. I'm also dropping a debuff on these, which are going to drop their melee attack and their melee damage. If we can hover over one of them. There you go, Transportation of Lead. So they're not really going to do too much. They are being massacred by the Demigryph units, the Empire Knights, as well as my swordsmen. Yeah, the other 2 Demigryph or Pegasus Knights that were nearby do come and try and hit my crossbows. As you can see, these 2 Pegasus Knights have been destroyed almost instantly. A lot of money. I think they're 1,200 each. So that's a lot of money that just went down the drain. Here you see I am getting charged with these Pegasus Knights. They're doing some damage to my crossbow, but I am going to try to respond with my warrior priest, Balthazar Gelt. I'm trying to get my cav over there as well. They do manage to fall back. They are getting shot up on my crossbows a little bit. But yeah, they just charged in to do a little bit of damage to my crossbows. Meanwhile, my great cannons, this team is going to come back, and I'm going to put them back on their great cannons. And this great cannon is going to be assigned to firing at the Grail Knights. As you can see, they've already taken some damage here. Again, cannons do pretty well against Grail Knights, especially if they're not moving. But you can see the Bretonnian player over here starting to move towards the Dwarf. We have 3 full Pegasus Knights that are going to be wheeled in behind the Dwarf player, who is firing off their Grudge Throwers, as well as their Thunderers are going off. Or they were going off against King Luon the Yonkeur. And right now I'm just trying to get my formations back. I have my cav sitting in my back line because I do see all the Pegasus Knights that could come in at any time. Here comes my cannon crew to get back there. My mortar team should be firing. They are being attacked by the trebuchets. There we go. Yeah, they are firing off some rounds. You have King Luon the Yonkeur up here, way ahead of his troops. Great Sword's getting hit by the grudge throw, or not grudge throwers, but the trebuchets. And again, I'm focusing on the Grail Knights. You can see they have taken a lot of damage. And I know if I could take out Grail Knights, I could probably wipe out the remaining of their forces pretty easily because they have a very low leadership and there's no really support nearby currently. Although I guess they could move King Luon at any time. The Grail Knights finally noticing that they've been hammered, are going to move into position to try and silence my guns, so I immediately move some cav to go their way. At this point, we are going to be shot up by the just huge amount of peasant bowmen. Also, this Bretonnian player is focused firing on the Longbeard line and Thunderers over here. So there's going to be a lot of damage being done by these bows. They are great at focus firing. They are great at killing, I don't know, swordsmen, which are now almost not even there. I'm pulling up my crossbows to try and get in range of their archers. Meanwhile, I am holding their Grail Knights at bay with this Empire Knight. I allowed this Knight to get charged by both because they are the unit here that's going to be the what's the word? The fodder of my knights, and then I charged in with my Demigryph Knights with halberds. I am bringing up a unit of spearmen to support this fight, and I know that if I can kill these knights, then I can go for their very squishy backline. I am trying to delay and have their peasant bows focus fire on my crappy swordsmen in the middle, which happened. Meanwhile, I'm getting a charge off here on their halberds, but again, Bretonnian infantry does not take any charge damage at all, as long as they're braced, and they were. But the greatswords, even without the charge, are going to do very well against man-at-arms. I have Balthasar Gelt just here as an AoE leadership buff. I think I do cast some spells here. There we go. Dropping I believe this is a Comet spell on these peasant bows. And at this point, we have wiped out the Bretonnian calf, so I'm getting in position to just charge down this bowman line with my Empire Knights and my Demigryph Knights with halberds. This unit is going off the silence with trebuchets, which have actually done a lot of damage to them. Meanwhile, the front line is being met with my greatswords. My actual swordsmen have been all focused down at this point for the most part, but my greatswords are still around, and they're being supported by the Witch Hunter and the Warrior Priest, which dropped a couple of buffs. Balthasar Gelt also comes with an AoE buff, which I believe I dropped on them. It's already worn off, though, but it is a pretty good buff. And here we go. My Empire Knights are starting to rout their entire back line. Demigryph Knights are routing their 2 trebuchets out there, and here come my second group of Demigryph Knights. I'm going to go around and cycle charge and hit them again. King Luan Leoncoeur goes after Balthasar Gelt, a very good choice. I didn't notice this for a little while, and you can see Balthasar Gelt is going to get destroyed by King Luan. Absolutely destroyed, because I was too busy focusing my attention on my cav doing the charges as well as trying to give targets to my crossbows. Meanwhile, the Dwarf player is doing pretty well. They did get charged by 3 different groups of Pegasus Knights, which didn't really do too much, but they did disrupt the Dwarf lines, and they are buying time for these peasant bows to do the damage, which is a solid plan. The Dwarf is too focused with these flying Pegasus Knights and the remaining Bretonnian infantry to really deal with them. So they're just getting kind of hammered by the bow infantry there. For my Bretonnian player, though, I have routed all of their peasant bows at this point. I'm going to send off a unit to keep chasing them and try and deal more damage. And then I believe I send this Demigryph unit to try and hit the peasant bowmen, hammering my ally there. I did manage to get Balthasar Gelt away from the king for a little bit. He is kind of hovering over him right now as the king tries to kill my crossbows. Meanwhile, my great cannon have been over here protected by my spearmen, and I'm using them to try and silence the peasant bows, because at this point, that's the only thing that I think that can bring us down. And here we go. My Demigryph Knights are just going to have a field day. A field day with these poor peasant bows. I think my Empire Knights are... Where are my Empire Knights? Are they in here? They're somewhere killing bowmen somewhere. There they are. They're back there. And it was at this point that the king was like, F these crossbows, I'm going to finish off Balthasar. So what I did, I charged Balthasar into these units to just try and get him away from the king. And then I tried to get him out, but it's taking a lot of damage there. So I'm trying to just get him out. I'm trying to keep the king in place with my units, which was my entire plan. So again, I was trying to lure him into the melee so that I could get my guy out, but then tie him down with my warrior priest and my greatswords. Didn't work that way. So at this point, I'm like, crap, didn't work. So I'm still being chased by the king, and my dude routed for, I think, a moment, and then I lost track of him, and then he dies. So there goes Balthasar Gelt. Fare thee well, Balthasar Gelt. Meanwhile, though, my knights are still just chasing away the Bretonnian bowmen. They are getting hung up on some spears here. But you can see them over here killing some more trebuchets, chasing off more bowmen. My cannons are still firing at them. And for the most part, we have them wrapped up here. The King Luan does jump back into the fight against his greatswords and against the warrior priest. But if I can just pause for a moment. I only have Shield of Faith up currently. But I want to show you all the spells that the warrior priest has, because they're pretty cool. If I can... It's kind of annoying because in replays, I can't just select a unit and keep their card up. If there is a way to do that, let me know. So the only way I can really do it is by just zooming up to the unit, and then hopefully my cursor still stays over their actual model. So we got the Soulfire, which is going to strengthen the magic resistance of nearby units as well as deal damage to enemies around them. We also have the Shield of Faith, which affects allies around them for a 22% damage resistance. We have a self buff, which increases the melee attack by plus 34. And then we also have a another... Actually, is that another damage resistance? I thought... Is that just to himself? That's to himself, right, okay. So he has a self-damage resistance buff as well. So, like, the base stats of a Warrior Priest, honestly, isn't that amazing. But the buffs definitely, in my opinion, make him worth it. Just being able to keep an infantry line together with the damage resistance buff, and his offensive buff with the melee attack is pretty good. His weapon strength is still fairly nice. His armor on a barded horse is really good. So... by default, he comes off of the horse, and I believe his armor is like 30, I think. So he's pretty squishy. If you spend the 200 to get him on a barded horse, he is definitely more survivable. And if you're going to go in on a warrior priest, unless you really need that 200 gold for something else, I would spend the money for the barded horse. Also, my witch hunter this entire time for like the last half of this battle has just been focus firing on the king and doing his accusation, which is the reason why I brought him. He has a single target direct damage spell. So I've just been dropping accusations on King Luon as well as shooting him. I didn't really notice his base missile damage doing too much to the king. Maybe he just missed a lot. But I'm still on the fence to know if whether this witch hunter is actually worth the price that he costs. But this is my first time using him, so I can't really place judgment. But definitely I think the warrior priest is pretty solid. Balthasar Geld, I got to use a couple spells with him. He is just a sorcerer with the lore of metal, and he also has a buff that can increase your troops melee defense, offense, and leadership, I believe. So I think he's pretty solid as well. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of cover that before this battle ends here. So yeah, the king is now in battle against my great swords and the warrior priest, and is also going to be shot at, I think, by crossbows. Maybe not. Anyway, he falls, and after he is dead, the battle is now over. Dwarf player got kind of hammered. I honestly got kind of hammered as well there. Oh, you know, I didn't even notice this person brought a damsel, because I was so focused on Captain Kidd. I didn't even notice that damsel. I don't know if they did anything. But all of this money into the Pegasus Knights. Look at all of that money. That's a lot of money, and they didn't get too many kills. These are probably the ones... No. These are probably the ones that were sent in the very beginning. And most of those kills are probably against my cannon crew. Maybe those two were. I'm not entirely sure. But I think that's way too much money to spend on Pegasus Knights. They're more of a, like a surgical strike team. They're like Navy SEALs. You send them in to the back line, do a surgical strike against a target, try to get a charge bonus. But like having half your army be Pegasus Knights is funny. It's cool. I will say it did catch me off guard that my backline was under attack immediately, so there is that. But against the Empire player especially, bringing a lot of Pegasus Knights, I wouldn't do it. Because almost every single Empire player you're going to fight is going to bring Demigryph Knights with halberds. It's going to happen. You'd be... I'm not going to say a fool not to bring them. If you just wanted to have like fun builds and you don't want to even bring the halberd units, I can understand that. But they're just so good. They are. Hold on. I mean, and it's silly. It's honestly silly. Let's do a custom battle. If you go to the Empire, we'll do Bretonnia as well. Let's look at the Grail Knights here. Delete that. So the Grail Knights cost 1,500. And look at their stats. 110 armor with a shield that blocks 30% of missiles. The only thing really going for them, honestly, is the magic attack, which is super good against vampire counts. And just as a quick reminder why that is, why I say that, is because the vampire counts have very annoying units like the Karn Wraiths and the Hex Wraiths. Both of these are immune to physical resistance 75%. What they're not immune to? Magic. So you definitely want to bring Grail Knights against vampire counts in case they bring these wraiths specifically. Because both of these drop almost instantly to a Grail Knight charge. I'm not even kidding. If you don't have a Grail Knight in your army because you're not playing Bretonnian, then I always try to have a caster. So just try and cast a spell on them. They take a lot of magic damage as well, in general, just from spells as well as Grail Knights. But man, Grail Knights, it is so satisfying to charge one of these units with a group of Grail Knights and just see them melt because they cost so much money. And they instantly die. It's a beautiful thing. But anyway, besides the magic attack, that's kind of the only thing going on for them. And they are 1,500 each. 1,500 each. Charge bonus is 74. But if you go to here, the Demigryph units are even cheaper. They have higher armor. Now, the Demigryph Knights with Halberds don't have the shield, but they have 130 armor. So even if they get hit by crossbows, it's not going to do that much damage. Even Thunderers, I don't even think do that much damage. But their weapon strength, I believe, is even higher than the Grail Knights. Yeah, weapon strength of 40. Their weapon strength is 60. Here, we can even look at the anti-infantry ones if you want. Anti-infantry ones, 66. Charge bonus of 60. I think the Grail Knights do have them beat there with a 74. Big whoop. Big whoop. Every single time, Grail Knights Demigryph Knights are going to destroy Grail Knights. I think Grail Knights may be too expensive. Either that, or they need to increase the cost of the Demigryph Knights, because they are just so... They are so good. They are just so good. It's disgusting. Hell, even the basic Demigryph Knights still have the shield, too. It's just the ones that with Halberds don't even have it. But, man, look at just like that damage is so good. 45 armor piercing plus 32 to large. There's not many anti-cav in this game, which maybe is also the reason why they're so strong. They're so cheap, and there's not too many other cav units that can take them out. Actually, you know, maybe I've never actually put hex rates against Bretonnian or Imperial Demigryph Knights with Halberds. Maybe that 75% resistance will do well. The thing is that they have a very low melee attack, and their charge bonus sucks. So they're going to lose on the charge. I don't know how that would work. I want to say that the Demigryphs would probably destroy them. But yeah, the only other cav I can really think of that is anti-large, I think, is the Greenskins. I know this video is kind of going on long, but I just want to look at this. Because I think bigger and here we go. Yeah, so they have bonus versus large 12. 12. They cost 900. So they're definitely going to lose against Demigryph Knights. They are cheaper. They have more hit points, but they don't have the damage, nor the armor, nor the melee attack or defense. Oh my god, that's so low. So for 500 more, yeah, Demigryph Knights, they're just so good. I think they need to have a cost increase, is what I'm saying. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I just wanted to go over that really quickly. It's hard to kill them. It's hard to kill them, especially with Cav, because again, I think that's the only Cav I can think of that has the bonus versus large at all, and it's such a small bonus, so like that's not exactly an answer. Just kind of quickly looking over here. Yeah, who else is left? Dwarves don't even have any Cav. So yeah, they're just super strong. I don't think Warriors of Chaos, I think both of there is also anti-infantry specifically. Yeah. Yep, all that is anti-infantry. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to meet them in a Cav fight. They basically win against any other Cav you bring up against them. But hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you all next time. Take care.